Imagine you're in a supermarket deciding between two identical loaves of bread. One is priced at $2, the other at $3. You pick the $3 one, assuming it's better. Ever wondered why? Welcome to the fascinating realm of cognitive psychology, the study of how our minds process information. In that supermarket scenario, you might have fallen prey to a cognitive bias, a systematic error in thinking that impacts the decisions and judgments we make. Cognitive biases can be sly, often slipping under our radar. They can make us choose the pricier bread, believing it's superior, even though both loaves are identical. They're like the silent puppeteers of our minds, subtly influencing our actions and decisions, often without us even realizing it. These biases can shape our perceptions, our relationships, and even the choices we make in our daily lives. So, are you ready to uncover the tricks your mind plays on you? Buckle up as we delve into the world of cognitive biases. Ever felt like you're the smartest person in the room? That's your overconfidence bias speaking. You see, our minds can be quite the tricksters, convincing us that we're more competent or knowledgeable than we actually are. This is known as overconfidence bias. It's like that friend who insists they're an expert at karaoke after one too many drinks. Psychologist David Dunning puts it perfectly. The first rule of the Dunning-Kruger Club is you don't know you're a member of the Dunning-Kruger Club. In other words, those who are most overconfident are often the least aware of their own incompetence. It's like being lost but insisting you know the way, only to end up even more lost. Overconfidence can lead us to make rash decisions, underestimate difficulties, and overestimate our abilities. So the next time you're absolutely sure of something, think again. Just remember, a little doubt can sometimes be a good thing. So, next time you're absolutely sure, think again. Remember when everything was better back in the day? That's your mind playing tricks on you again. This is a cognitive bias known as Rosy Retrospection. It's like your brain has its own rose-colored glasses, selectively remembering the good times and conveniently forgetting the not-so-good ones. Ever caught yourself reminiscing about that vacation you took a few years ago, conveniently forgetting the delayed flights, lost luggage, and that questionable street food that had you hugging the toilet bowl? That's rosy retrospection in action. Or how about the time you nostalgically recalled the simpler times of your childhood, while conveniently leaving out the part about the hideous braces or the awkward teenage years? This bias can distort our perception of the past, making it seem better than it really was. It can lead us to make decisions based on a distorted version of reality, rather than the cold, hard facts. So the past may not be as rosy as you remember it. Ever found yourself saying, "I knew it," after an event has occurred? That's hindsight bias for you. Hindsight bias is that sneaky little trick your mind plays on you, making you believe that you had predicted an outcome all along, even when that's not the case. It's like your brain's very own time-traveling illusionist, convincing you that you're psychic. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you've just finished watching a suspense-filled movie. The villain's identity is revealed, and you immediately think, I knew it was him. But did you really know? If so, why the surprise? This bias can lead to overconfidence in our ability to predict events. We start to trust our gut too much, thinking we have some kind of sixth sense. But let's face it, we're not wizards or fortune tellers. We're humans, and humans are prone to errors. So, you might not be as good at predicting the future as you think. Ever thought your team, your country, your group is better than others? That's in-group bias at work. In-group bias is our tendency to favor those who are part of our own group, while dismissing or devaluing those in the out-group, those who are different from us in some way. This bias can be seen in all parts of our lives, from the sports teams we cheer for, to the political parties we support, even to the types of food we prefer. But here's the catch. It can lead to discrimination and conflict. When we're so wrapped up in our own group's superiority, we start to disregard the worth of others. We might, without even realizing it, treat those in our outgroup unfairly, or make harmful stereotypes about them. This bias isn't just about thinking your favorite band is the best in the world. It's about recognizing that we all have a tendency to favor our own, and that this can have serious implications. So your group might not be as superior as you believe. Ever thought, "It won't happen to me" when hearing about accidents or diseases? That's optimism bias. Now, optimism isn't a bad thing. It can help us push through tough times and even improve our health. But optimism bias is a different beast. It's when we believe that we are less likely to experience negative events compared to others. For instance, most people think they have a lower chance of getting a heart attack or being in a car accident than the average person. It's like we're all living in a superhero movie, and we're the invincible protagonist. But life isn't a movie. And we're not superheroes. This bias can lead us to underestimate risks and engage in potentially harmful behavior. For example, someone with an optimism bias might not see the need for health insurance or safety measures because they believe that bad things just won't happen to them. So you might not be as invincible as you think. Ever thought I'm not biased while pointing out others' biases? That's your bias blind spot showing. Now let's dive deeper into this intriguing cognitive bias. The bias blind spot is the tendency to see oneself as less biased than other people. It's like wearing a pair of glasses that only lets you see the specks in others' eyes but not the log in your own. For instance, you may believe that you're completely fair and objective in a heated argument, while your opponent is clearly biased. But here's the twist. That belief itself could be a result of the bias blind spot. Tricky, isn't it? This bias can prevent us from recognizing our own biases, making us overconfident in our objectivity and impeding our personal growth. So next time you're quick to spot someone else's bias, take a moment to reflect on your own perspectives. Remember, self-awareness is the first step to overcoming biases. So, you might be more biased than you realize. So, we've taken a whirlwind tour of the mind's clever tricks, cognitive biases. Let's do a quick recap, shall we? We started our journey with overconfidence, that little devil on your shoulder that whispers, "You're the best, you can't possibly be wrong." It's a classic pitfall, but remember, a dash of humility and a willingness to question our own beliefs can keep it at bay. Then we dove into the Rosy Retrospection, that nostalgic bias that paints our past in brighter shades than perhaps it deserves. To counter this, we must learn to appreciate the present and not let a rose-tinted past hinder our progress. Our next stop was Hindsight Bias, the "I knew it all along" syndrome. It's sneaky and can lead to overconfidence. The antidote? Acknowledge the unpredictability of life and embrace the uncertainty. We then examined Ingroup Bias, the tendency to favor those who are most like us. To overcome this, we need to consciously cultivate empathy and understanding for those who are different. Next, we discussed the Optimism Bias, our tendency to believe that we are less likely to experience negative events. While optimism is great, we must balance it with a healthy dose of reality. Then we delved into the bias blind spot, the belief that we are less biased than others. The remedy? Regular self-reflection and a willingness to accept feedback. We've journeyed through the labyrinth of our minds, uncovering these 7 cognitive biases. But remember, awareness is just the beginning. The next step is applying practical strategies to overcome these biases, and that's where the real work begins. So grab your mental toolkit, equip yourself with knowledge, and set forth on your journey to a more objective, less biased view of the world. It's a journey that's challenging, enlightening, and ultimately rewarding. Remember, understanding is the first step to overcoming. So which bias have you succumbed to? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights into the fascinating world of cognitive psychology.